Ever wondered if the credit score you're seeing is the real deal? Like, is it the same number the banks are looking at when you apply for a mortgage or a loan? It's a question that plagues a lot of people, especially with so many different credit monitoring services popping up. And today, we're diving deep into one of the big names in Canada, Borrowell, to answer that very question: what type of credit score does Borrowell provide? Now, before we get into the specifics of Borrowell, let's zoom out for a second and talk about credit scores in general. Because understanding the landscape is crucial for understanding where Borrowell fits in. In Canada, there are two main credit bureaus, Equifax and TransUnion. These are the big players. They collect information about your borrowing habits, things like credit card payments, loan repayments, bankruptcies, and so on. This information is then used to generate your credit report, which is essentially a detailed history of your credit activity. From these credit reports, a credit score is calculated. This score is a 3-digit number that summarizes your creditworthiness. It's a snapshot of how likely you are to repay borrowed money. The higher the score, the better your credit history, and the more likely lenders are to approve your applications for credit. Now, here's where things get a little tricky. Both Equifax and TransUnion have their own scoring models. This means you can have two different credit scores, one from Equifax and one from TransUnion. These scores are usually quite similar, but they're rarely exactly the same. This is because the bureaus might have slightly different information about you, or their scoring models might weigh certain factors differently. And to add another layer of complexity, there are also different versions of these scoring models. It's not like there's just one universal Equifax score and one universal TransUnion score. These bureaus update their models periodically to better reflect current lending trends and risk assessment practices. So, a lender might be using a slightly older version of the Equifax score, while another lender might be using a more recent version. So, with this context in mind, let's finally talk about Borrowell. Borrowell provides you with your Equifax credit score. It's important to be clear on this point: Borrowell uses the Equifax Credit Bureau. Now, the specific version of the Equifax score that Borrowell provides is what they refer to as the Equifax Risk Score. This is a widely used scoring model in Canada. It's the same score many lenders use when making credit decisions. So, the score you see on Borrowell is a legitimate and relevant score. It's not some made-up number or a proprietary scoring model. It's a real Equifax score. But here's the key takeaway: while Borrowell provides a real Equifax score, it's just one of your credit scores. Remember, you have two, one from Equifax and one from TransUnion. Borrowell gives you the Equifax one. It does not provide your TransUnion score. This means that if you want a complete picture of your credit health, you'll need to check your TransUnion score separately. There are other services that provide TransUnion scores, or you can obtain your credit report directly from TransUnion. Now, some people might ask, why should I bother checking both scores if they're usually similar? Well, there are a few reasons. First, as mentioned earlier, the scores are not always identical. There can be discrepancies in the information held by the two bureaus, which can lead to different scores. If you only check one score, you might be missing important information. Second, some lenders might rely more heavily on one bureau over the other. For example, a particular bank might primarily use Equifax scores, while another lender might prefer TransUnion scores. So, knowing both scores can give you a better understanding of how different lenders might view your creditworthiness. Third, checking both scores can help you identify potential errors on your credit reports. If you see a significant difference between your Equifax and TransUnion scores, it might indicate that there's an error on one of your reports. By checking both, you can catch these errors and take steps to correct them. So, to summarize what we've covered so far, Borrowell provides your Equifax credit score, specifically the Equifax Risk Score. This is a legitimate and widely used score in Canada. However, it's just one of your two credit scores. You also have a TransUnion score, which you'll need to check separately. Now, let's address another common question: how often does Borrowell update your credit score? Borrowell typically updates your credit score on a monthly basis. This means you can log in once a month to see your latest score and track any changes in your credit health. This regular updating is a valuable feature as it allows you to monitor your credit score over time and identify any potential issues early on. For example, if you notice a sudden drop in your score, you can investigate the cause and take corrective action. It's also important to remember that Borrowell provides more than just your credit score. It also offers other helpful features, such as credit monitoring, which alerts you to any significant changes on your credit report, and personalized recommendations for improving your credit health. So, is Borrowell a worthwhile service? Absolutely. It provides a valuable service by giving you access to your Equifax credit score and other helpful tools. However, it's crucial to understand that it only provides one piece of the puzzle. To get a complete picture of your credit health, you should also check your TransUnion score. By understanding the type of credit score Borrowell provides and its place within the broader credit reporting landscape, you can make more informed decisions about your financial health. Remember, knowledge is power when it comes to credit management. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.